This is a video for any entrepreneurs or business owners who are feeling stuck, alone, or just like down right now. Because I've been getting a lot of messages with some of the content that I'm putting out on Instagram and just having conversations with people about what's resonating and what's not. And I got one last week that made me realize like why I really do it and just reminded me of why I do what I do. And I want to read it to you because I think just like when I started my business, I always just compared myself to what I saw on social media. And that just isn't the case. A lot of times it's just not reality. I just want to share this so that maybe if you're in that place, then it resonates with you as well. Here's the message. I'm a 42-year-old man that just started his business, and I have learned a lot about myself since I started this journey. I have a lot of self-doubt, fears, self-sabotage, and running into your page has given me hope. Your page has shown me that I'm not the only one out there with self-sabotage, and I'm struggling. Thank you for reaching out. Seeing this message is the reason why I do what I do. It is the reason why I create content, why I do the coaching, and why I'm doing this video right now is because I know what it's like to be in that place where you just so desperately want to succeed and you want to be making this massive impact and you want to be making all this money, but you're not there yet. And then that creates this negative ripple effect and this spiral of you knowing where you want to be and comparing yourself to where you currently are. And there's always this gap. And so I just know what that's like. And I want to tell a little bit about my story and then ultimately share 6 of the things that have helped me overcome it so that you can possibly try some of these things as well. And if at the very least, none of this stuff helps you in just hearing one more person's story, then maybe that might help you as well. For me, like growing up, I was always a team player. I was always on team sports. Growing up, my family, we played a lot of sports. My dad was a coach, and I just loved being a part of a team. Last company that I worked for had this amazing team camaraderie and culture. And so then almost a year ago when I quit my job and I went to full-time entrepreneurship, I was by myself and I was a team of one. And looking back on it, the reason why I started the business is because I wanted to have freedom and I wanted to share my skills and learn and talk about mental performance and talk about entrepreneurship and personal development and growth. But doing this by myself, I realized it's really isolated me. And there have been so many times looking back on it where since I've been doing it alone, been doing it by myself, I've felt sad. I felt sometimes depressed, sometimes like I'm doing it by myself, and that hasn't felt good. Then I'm doing something by myself. I'm setting these big goals, but I'm not necessarily there yet. And I started to like sabotage myself. I started to procrastinate a lot last year. I started to be afraid of taking that next step. I started to really, really doubt myself. And I even started having like some health issues. I got this really bad physical rash that was all over my body because I was so stressed. And just all of these things combined with one another, being isolated, doubting myself, being physically sick, I started just sabotaging. And it was really, really rough. And then I reached this point where it was almost so bad that I was looking around for somebody to like save me. I started having this victim mindset of why isn't anybody coming to help me? Why isn't my wife helping me more? Why aren't my friends reaching out to me? Why aren't my coaches helping me? And it was like a really, really rough place. And through that season, I realized that I needed to go through that in order to emphasize or empathize. So once I hit rock bottom, I realized I needed to go through that in order to have empathy with other entrepreneurs and other business owners who are going through the same thing. And looking back on it, I'm actually grateful that I went through such a deep low because I now understand what it's like. And now that I've gotten through it, I am able to empathize with people who are in that low and give them some of the things that have helped me. And it did take me months to get out of this rut, but I took it as a sign that if I was struggling with that, then I'm sure there were going to be other people who would be struggling with it as well. And that's why I've been talking about some of the things that helped me get through it. And it's been really resonating with a lot of people who are following my content on Instagram. If you're not following me yet on Instagram, go ahead and check me out. It's just mario.minert, and let me know what resonates with you. But with that kind of context, I want to share some of the things that really helped me through it. There's 6 things that I listed out here, and don't feel like you need to do every single one. I just want to give you some options to potentially give you some solutions. And so the first thing that really helped me get out of this rut was actually my faith. I have always had a strong faith, but I reached a point where it was so bad and I was so low that I realized I couldn't do it on my own. And the only person that could really help me or save me was God. And so I really made it a habit of relying on my faith on a daily basis. I was praying every single day. I had a devotional that became like my sidekick. And every single day I turned to God and I was just like, please, God, help me. Show me what to do. Show me who I need to work with. Show me the steps that I need to take. And slowly over time, things started falling into place. Faith has been really big for me. The second thing is my wife. And I think that having a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage, and a supportive partner is one of the biggest hacks that you can have in personal development and in business growth, because every single morning we would have coffee and I would just tell her what was going on. And there were a lot of times when I would just like break down in the mornings at coffee and I would just tell her, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know if I can do this. I feel like I'm hitting rock bottom, and I would just let it out and I would feel better. And it was probably one of the most helpful things that I could have ever done is just talk to her about how I'm feeling and talk to her about what was going on. And Emily was amazing and has been amazing throughout the whole journey. My faith, my wife. The third thing that I did that was super helpful was I joined a community. I found a mentor. His name's Jeremy Pogue, and he has a booming community of online entrepreneurs and coaches that are just like me, scaling their businesses around the same age and had a very similar mindset. And that was like a really big boost for me to learn from somebody who's already kind of figured out the path, and just to be around other people who are going through the same highs and lows as me. And I can't state this enough, how important it is to just be around other people who are going through the same things. And a lot of these coaches are actually at a much higher level than I was. And it made me understand like where I was deficient from a specific like business strategy. And I didn't have as much clarity on my niche. I didn't have a clearly defined offer. I didn't have too many sales assets in place. My content is good, but it's not great yet. And I just learned all of these areas where I was deficient, but also like I was able to see other people who were struggling with certain areas that I was maybe a little bit more experienced in. And so just being around other coaches in a community like that was super helpful for me. Then next thing that was really helpful is just finding an accountability partner. I think that this is probably one of the biggest ways to increase your productivity is just to find an accountability partner, somebody that you can meet with every single week, share your goals, share what your struggles are, and then hold each other accountable. Just telling somebody what I was going to do, messaging them back and forth throughout the week, and then having that weekly check-in is super helpful for me. And this is something that I provide for a lot of my clients as well, that when you tell somebody else what you're going to do, a lot of times, even if they're not even invested in the work that you're doing, you're going to be more likely to follow through on that because you don't want to let them down. And it does increase your productivity. It has been super effective for me. And so that's something that I keep doing and I will continue to do moving forward. Fifth thing that I did, I hired coaches who could help me. I currently work with a coach who is an expert in overcoming self-sabotage for business owners, just like me. And her name is Andy Colleen, and she helps people overcome the fears that are holding them back using mindset work and journaling and breath work, which is something that's really new to me. And so I've been learning a lot about that and learning a lot about myself that is ultimately going to help me show up as my best and help my clients and ultimately help my own community grow as well. So I have somebody who helps me with my mindset. I have somebody who helps me with accountability. I hired a commit action productivity coach, and his name is Jamal. He meets with me every single week. We go through what are my top 3 priorities. We set those. We set my time blocks, and he checks in with me throughout the week to make sure that I'm moving that forward. And that has been a really good thing. Whenever you are in that phase where you're struggling, you're in a low, and you don't know what to do, one of the best questions that you can ask yourself is who can help me rather than what do I need to do? Asking yourself who can help, who is the person that has already figured this out? How can I learn from them is going to be your quickest, most direct path to getting where you want to be. And then one of the last things that I want to share is that I really started taking journaling seriously. When I was like in the peak of my funk, I realized that so much of what was holding me back were the thoughts that I had and the different emotions that I had that were high and low throughout the day. And so I started journaling, and I just have a Google Doc where throughout the day at different points, like 9:37, I would just journal and tell myself, this just happened. This is what I'm thinking. This is how I'm feeling. Check in with myself later that afternoon. And seeing it on paper starts to bring awareness to your thoughts and to the events and to the patterns that you're falling through. And reading back my journal over the past couple of months, I can see this emotional roller coaster, which is pretty crazy to see, honestly. I know that was a lot, but those are just a few things that really helped me. And the whole spirit of this video is just to share a little bit about some of the things that I was struggling with, but also 6 of those things that helped me get out of that rut. And as I just kind of bring it back to you, again, if you're in that place where you're in a rut, you're in a low, you are feeling alone with these things, I just want you to know that you're not alone. I have 100% been there, and I believe in you. And I just really want to encourage you that there is a reason why you're going through this low right now. I believe that it is going to forge you into a better version of yourself. I believe that it is something that once you're through it, you'll be able to help other people get through it. But I also don't want you to stay in that place and struggle by yourself. And so that's why I wanted to share these 6 things. Again, as I bring it back to you, the 6 things that helped me through it. Number 1 was my faith with God. Number 2 is just my wife and my closest relationships. Number 3, joining a community. Number 4, finding an accountability partner. Number 5, hiring coaches who already have the blueprint. Number 6, I started journaling. Let me know if any of these things resonate with you. Let me know which of those you're going to start doing. And also, if you're in that rut and you need some support, send me a DM on Instagram and let's have a conversation and see if I can help you close the gap from where you are to where you want to be. That's what I have for today, and I will see you in the next one.